Good morning. Today we find ourselves at Cave of the Winds. Now this is a small roadside attraction in Manitou Springs. If you've watched my Manitou cliff dwellings video, this is about 5 minutes away from there. I'm just trying to knock out these areas one by one. I'm almost done with this Manitou area actually. So if you've been liking these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I've got a lot more stuff planned, stuff like this. But today we are talking about Cave of the Winds. I have never been here, so I have absolutely no idea what to expect. And honestly, I think that's kind of cool. But I know there's all sorts of weird, cool, fun stuff. I'm sure there's a gift shop. So let's go check it out. This is Mike the Finder. Let's go. There's actually a pretty windy, turny, twisty, steep road to get up here. So if it's winter, I would really rethink the ride to the top of this mountain. But luckily we are now in spring and the road was pretty clear. And as you can see, pretty amazing views from the parking lot. Well, hey there, Mr. Snubnose. Look at this thing. He looks so mean, but so friendly at the same time. I'm very confused by this. I know it's called Cave of the Winds, but I just thought it was a name. I didn't think like, hey, it's windy up here. I'm gonna have to get a dead cat for this microphone eventually. As windy as it is, I gotta say, the views are kind of worth the wind. And it does say here that they've actually got bears and rattlesnakes sighted regularly, so I have to keep an eye out on that. Oh cool, there's some rock walls and stuff up here. Won't catch me up there. Too afraid of heights. The Windwalker Challenge course. This is kind of cool. And if you feel like panning for gold, this is the place to do it apparently. It's like fake water. That's so bizarre. I know you can't really tell, but that's like, there's a clear tube coming out of there. It wraps all the way around, so a bunch of people can do it all at once. I just cannot get over the view out here. That is just insane. Insane. There are some weather restrictions here. It says if the weather shuts down the outdoor attractions, after 15 minutes you can present your receipt for a rain check, so that's kind of cool. After an hour, you can get a refund. Okay, so it says here the Discovery Tour is $22 for adults and $16 for kids, and then the Lantern Tour is $32 and $20 for kids. Now, when I called up here earlier, she said that the Lantern Tour is the only light coming from anywhere is the lantern you're holding. It's a 90-minute tour, so I didn't think that would be great for vlogging, but the Discovery Tour, that's what we're here to do. I don't know how long we're going to have to wait or any of that, but that's what we're here for. And as we come in the building here, there's a little lookout deck. Go out there in a second. Then there's a refreshment stand over here. Ooh, is that a stuffed bear? That bear's got to be fake, right? Oh yeah, that bear's very fake. Oh yeah, very fake. Still super cool though. Okay, so this is cool. I had absolutely no idea that they had a little nature museum thing in here. Makes sense, but I just didn't know it was here. It says, as you explore underground at Cave of the Winds, you are surrounded by limestone. All sorts of different rocks I know absolutely nothing about. This is really cool. In the 1860s, prospectors had struck gold in Cripple Creek and word traveled fast. Colorado-bound men and women loaded their belongings in wagons and headed west to try to find all that gold. Look at these guys. Those are real men. Not me. I'm not a real man. Those are real men. And here, just in case you were wondering, this is all the equipment you need to dive deep into a cave. Need that body protection. Cave of the Winds features 10,765 feet of surveyed passageways. That is insane. Many of them open to the public. So I guess they're not all open to the public. Other sections, including a crystal-filled room discovered in 1984 called Silent Splendor, are sealed off to protect sensitive formations. That makes sense. So if you want to learn all about caving, this is where you go. And then this says at noon on Saturday, June 23rd, 2012, a fire was reported burning in the Pike National Forest about 3 miles west of Colorado Springs and north of U.S. Highway 24, which is just right out there. Over the next 18 days, the fire burned 18,247 acres, destroying 347 homes and damaged many others before it was knocked down. 2 people lost their lives in the massive blaze that raged over 2 counties and impacted multiple towns. The fire came within 100 yards of Cave of the Winds buildings, but the property was spared. That's cool. Thank goodness, because otherwise we wouldn't be here today. This place has definitely had its fair share of disasters. Look at this. Some pictures of the fire. Wow. Look at that. That was just right outside. So like I said, we're here for the discovery tour. It says it's about a half-mile walking distance, and there's about 200 stairs total. The smallest passage is 4 feet high, but opens up again quickly. And it also says some areas are really dimly lit, so I have no idea what I'm gonna be able to film in here and whatnot. When I called up here earlier, she was kind of saying that there's not a ton of light inside, so it's gonna be really hard for me to be able to film stuff. I brought my smaller camera, which does a little bit better in low light, but we'll see.
Are you trying to vlog here in the cave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah, I was gonna do the lantern. Okay. Whoa, I shouldn't have looked down. Oh, I was just gonna do this cool little intro here, and then I totally looked down. Oh, that was dumb. Very afraid of heights. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera how tall up this is, but I'm very, very nervous all of a sudden. So just real quick, I do want to say, I just met Tripp, and he works here, and they comped me this next tour. So I just wanted to say that full disclosure there. They were super, super nice about everything, and they're super cool about letting you film in here. So just full disclosure there. They did comp me this discovery tour. I'm going in at 2 o'clock, so I got about 40 minutes. Unfortunately, I think I just missed the last tour by like 10 or 15 minutes, so I'm gonna have to hang out here for a little bit. But I'm thinking this will give me a good opportunity to shoot some B-roll. So let's check out a B-roll segment. Ready?
Back in 1880, there was a group of church youth hiking through Williams Canyon down here, and there was 2 brothers on that tour, in that group. They were George and John Pickett, ages 8 and 9. And they were brave young explorers, and they heard a howling noise coming from the side of the canyon, so they broke away from their tour group to go up there and see what the howling noise was, right? So they get up there, but the howling noise had stopped. They found 2 sinkholes though, and in one of those sinkholes there was a little crawl space. So they crawled on in, and one of the boys lit a candle for light, and they were about 30 feet in, and the candle went out and the howling noise had returned. So they decided that they had found a haunted cave, as any brave young explorer would, right? So they hightailed it out of there, ran back to town screaming haunted cave. Well, it turns out the cave wasn't haunted. The howling noise was just the wind passing over the sinkholes, and the wind blew out their candle. But they didn't know that. There was a guy down in the town that actually listened to the boys about his haunted cave. He was a stonemason and a freelance journalist for Manitou, and he came up here to figure out, if he could write a story about this. So he comes up here with a shovel and a pickaxe, and he finds the howling noise, he finds the sinkholes, and he finds that crawl space, and he dug for 2 days in that crawl space before he popped into this room right here, from right back over there. There's a little grate over it if you guys want to check it out. Now when he came into this room and he first looked around, he noticed that these little formations along the side a lot like canopy seating in an opera house, so he called this Canopy Hall. He actually explored quite a bit during 1880, and in 1881 he opened this up for commercial tours. The original tours were 6 to 8 hours of crawling. We're going to do it less than an hour, and we'll do mostly walking, a lot of scooping, but it'll be fun. When we're going along, I want to show you guys some formations that you can keep an eye on. We're going to talk about these formations a little bit later. Back here on the wall, this is flowstone. This white stuff right here looks like a melted wall. That happens when mineral-rich water flows over a flat surface like a wall or a floor, leaving behind its minerals as deposits. It is looking like a frozen waterfall or a melted wall. These up on the ceilings are stalactites. This is what happens when mineral-rich water drips from the ceiling. You can remember those because they hold tight to the ceiling, right? Then whenever the mineral-rich water drips on the floor, underneath stalactites, we always find stalagmites, right? And those might one day reach the ceiling. That's how you can remember the difference, right? Stalactites, mites. All right. Or you can remember them because you might trip over them on this tour, okay? And I'll point them out. Another thing that we're going to see along the way are these. These are our stalagmites. These are the only formations that I'm going to allow you to touch, okay? As we go along, use these because some of the areas are going to be pretty steep. And they can be wet in places, you know, so just use the stalagmites as we go along. Everything else is going to be significantly smaller. We're about to have a lot of fun. You guys ready to go to our first passageway?
Yeah.
Yes. Follow me. Use some stalagmites.
How awesome is this? I know, like I said, a lot of this footage is going to be really grainy. It's really, really dark in here, but bear with me because this is going to be really super cool.
All right.
I mean, I really can't even describe what it's like in here. I hope that this camera is doing it justice.
Is it doing it justice?
Sort of. It's very grainy because it's very dark in here, but very beautiful. And right here, we've got a little tiny hole that we're going to have to duck through.
You got to be 4'10".
4'10". Ah, itty bitty living spaces. All right, so there is some ambient lighting in here, so that's not terrible. Everything is really tight, really small. Don't want to lose everybody. Got to keep up. Got to keep up.
So, okay, this is reception hall. It took us about 4 minutes to get here. It took the original crawling tour 45 minutes to get here because they came through that up there. Yeah. See what I mean? Yeah, so right here where the smooth rock meets the rough rock over there on the wall, my flashlight needs new batteries. That right there is where the floor was. So to crawl in here and then have to go up this wooden rope ladder. Well, in 1880, they didn't have flashlights. They had open flame lanterns, right? And they quickly realized that open flame and a dry wooden rope ladder is a bad combination. You're going to get up there, but you ain't coming down without a thud. So if you look over here next to the ladder over here on the ceiling, this is where they would snuff out their lanterns before they would climb up this rope ladder 30 feet in the cave darkness before they could relight it on the other side. We're going to experience cave darkness later on, and you'll understand, you don't want to do that. So if you're looking up here at these little things that look like ribbons, I want to talk about these before we go on because we're going to see a lot of these. These are called ribbon stalactites. And how they form is if you have a mineral-rich strip of water, it'll flow down a surface, an incline, kind of like when you're washing dishes and it comes down, drips off your elbow, you know, that annoying thing. Anyway, same thing happens here. Well, one little drop will go, leave a path of minerals behind it, then another drop will go along that same path and leave minerals behind. Get a couple 100 years to a couple 1,000 years of that, and you end up with a ribbon stalactite. Now, spelunkers think they look like bacon because they get hungry a lot. So they're also known as cave bacon. Okay, we're going to see a lot of cave bacon along the way. Keep your eyes peeled. Y'all ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, well, if y'all love that 4'10" clearance, it's 3'8" going up these stairs. Just use those stalactites, lean forward a little bit, watch your head and your back. We're turning right at the top of the stairs. Follow me. Just lean forward right here. It's all gravy.
Leaning forward.
Lean forward.
Oh, wow, you weren't kidding.
This is Manitou Dome. We got a couple more coming in. I'm just going to talk while they're coming in though. There's some things I want to show you in here, and they have to do with these white veins here in the ceiling. You see these white veins? And there's places where it looks like coral from a coral reef. You see that? So this is called cave coral. The actual technical term is white beaded anthodite, but we call it cave coral. And you'll notice that these formations in here are all broken. the original guides didn't understand a lot about cave systems. So they thought these things actually regenerated like icicles overnight. We know this is a little bit different now, but back then they would actually encourage the guests to break them off and take their favorite formations with them as a souvenir. Please don't do that. Okay, it takes anywhere from 800 to 1,000 years to form 1 cubic inch of formation. That's about the tip of my thumb. Yeah, and just to give you a perspective of how long it takes, when we go down this hallway here, we're gonna see our stalactite nursery with our baby stalactites in it. Those baby stalactites took anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 years to form. The limestone you see above us is pretty solid if you hit your head on it, but there's a lot of pore spaces in there. Water can actually get through it, okay? And as the water's coming through, it's picking up minerals. And when it comes through to an air pocket or void on the other side, it's allowed to like drip or dry up right there, and it'll leave a little ring of minerals. Then the next drip will come through, leave a little ring of minerals in the same spot, next drip, next drip, next drip. It takes a really long time to get a formation. And that formation that you get will be a hollow tube, kind of like a soda straw, so we call them soda straw stalactites. Those are our baby stalactites. Eventually, the bottom of that stalactite will clog with minerals, and the water will flow down the outside, leaving more minerals at the top and less at the bottom, giving them that traditional icicle shape, okay? So it takes a really long time for these things to form. The lesson here is whenever you're in a cave, don't break the formations, right? All right.
I'm just gonna again pre-apologize for the noisiness of this footage, but this is awesome. I can't believe I've lived close to this for so long and I've never been here. Okay, I'm the last one. I can't get lost. Oh, wow. Stairs that go up that way. Oh, I keep not following directly behind these people and I keep almost getting lost. Like really fighting the urge to just go off on my own here. Oh, these stairs are tight.
The Temple of Silence was found in 1929. It wasn't part of the original tour. You're out of breath for a couple of reasons. One, you just went up those steep stairs. Congratulations, I won't make you go up them again. But we are going down that way. But the second reason is you're at 7,000 feet above sea level right now. So you're halfway up Pikes Peak. This is the second highest cave in North America. The highest one is over in Glenwood Caverns in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. All right. Also, you might notice it's a little more humid up here, so it's a little earthy. Well, that's because we are incredibly close to the surface. Back there in the back of this formation, they call it jaws, by the way. It's just like a big old shark's mouth. But in the back, there's a light bulb. Now, when you're back there to change a light bulb, if you look up, we can't see it from here, but they can see it from there. There are tree roots coming through the surface. Coming through the ceiling. So they know from the size of those tree roots that it's anywhere from 20 to 30 feet below the surface. So we're incredibly close. That's why we have a little bit of extra moisture and that organic smell in here. All right, so here we go, dramatic lighting. Ready?
Ooh.
All right. Yeah.
Jaws for real.
So should point out a couple of these formations in here. So this up here is our favorite. This is the biggest piece of cave bacon we have in the system. It's called the Colorado cave bacon. It's 4 feet long and a foot wide. Over there behind it is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You see that? Over here we have what was called a column, or what is called a column, but it was a column at one point. A column is when a stalactite and a stalagmite meet, right? This one was broken long before they found the room in 1929. It was either an underground mudslide or some other seismic activity that caused it to snap. But the way that it snapped and the lack of moisture in our system, this may never actually meet again. So we have up here Romeo and there's Juliet down there. And that's sad. All right.
I actually think I'm gonna have to pull out the little camera here because it's just way too dark and this lens is not gonna be good for this. So I'm gonna switch over to the little camera. Ready? This is insane. There's so many little turns. You could so easily get lost in here if you don't just follow the tour. This is kind of crazy. Oh, I want to go back there. Look at all of this. I cannot describe how happy I am that I brought this little camera because I almost didn't. And this place is unfilmable without this.
All right, so this room is one of my favorites, not just because of this creepy gargoyle, but also because I get to talk geology. Y'all ready for me to geek out a little bit? So I'm going to take you guys back in just 500 million years ago. The reason I picked that is because that's about this layer of limestone right down here, okay? So, for the majority of time, Colorado was underwater. underwater. Like just for the whole, pretty much all of its existence, it was underwater. So 500 million years ago, if you were standing right here in Colorado, you'd be under a shallow lying sea. And all those little sea creatures that are swimming around you, they got bones, they got shells and stuff like that. And those bones and shells are made of calcium. Well, eventually they die and they sink to the ocean floor, right? So, fast forward to 70 million years ago, and this limestone gets uplifted by tectonic activity in the area. And that uplift just pushed up on the ground and gave us the Rocky Mountains, right? Well, when it pushed up the Rocky Mountains, it broke the limestone. And you'll see all these fractures in the limestone as we go. There's fractures everywhere. Well, these fractures with all these stalactites along them, these are called lifelines for caves, right? These lifelines allow water to get in here a lot faster. Now, I mentioned water can percolate through those pore spaces in the limestone, but if you give it a break, it can come straight through that fracture, right? Well, so that water is from snow melt and rainwater above, and it's going to make its way through the soil. Well, what's in the soil? Organic material that's decaying, and it's giving off carbon dioxide. That water will picks up that CO2 and forms carbonic acid, which is a slightly acidic water, basically. And that water will come down in here to the water table and then just start dissolving calcium, because that's what it loves to do, just dissolve calcium. Carbonic acid loves this stuff. And eventually the water table will drop, leaving behind an air pocket, and then your cave formations can start to form, because that's when minerals can start being able to be left behind. And so that's how your caves form. Just to give you an idea of how long this stuff takes, this right here is the longest stalactite in the cave, and its name is the longest stalactite in the cave. It's 8.5 feet long, and it took over 102,000 years to form.
Wow.
Yeah. So, does anybody know where you probably get carbonic acid in your diet every day?
Soda.
Soda, yeah, soda. Anything carbonated has carbonic acid. So, if you drink a lot of soda, and you don't take care of your teeth, which are made of calcium, guess what you end up with? Cavities.
Ah.
That
That sounds like a joke I would have made. Okay, so I guess we're gonna get cave darkness here next. I'm gonna try to leave this on, even though it's gonna be complete darkness.
I wonder where all.
I know, there's so many little twists and turns.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, cool.
All right. So yeah, as y'all come in, just kind of go up against the walls a little bit. That way everybody can come in. So this right here is like the lantern, what we use on the lantern tours. This is 1 lumen of light. This is what our original visitors were working with when they came through here, 1 lumen. Now I'm going to turn off this light over here so you guys can see what that's like. All right. So this room that we're standing in, while I turn off the light, I'm just going to tell you that. So it was excavated in 1987 and opened on Mother's Day in 1988. And this little wooden staircase right here goes to our lantern tours. It's 90 minutes of this. You can see that there's no detail, no colors or anything like that. So they don't focus on geology. They talk about like local folklore and ghost stories. The reason that you can't see anything is because there's no artificial light sources to see. But it's because this is absolute darkness. You can't get any darker than this in nature unless you go to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. And if you stay in here for 10 minutes to an hour because your brain is so used to receiving information from your light, it'll start making up images for you. That's called hallucinating. If you stay in here for like 10 minutes to an hour, you'll start hallucinating. Now if you stay in here longer than that, like I think it's like 4 to 6 hours or maybe it's even longer, you'll start going mad. Yeah. The way that you get around that is just close your eyes. Because your brain doesn't expect anything if you close your eyes, right? So I'm going to bring you back to lightness. Whoosh.
Oh.
How cool is that? So don't hallucinate. Close your eyes. So on the lantern tours, they blow out all the lanterns and tell ghost stories in the dark for 6 minutes after they've told you a lot of ghost stories up to that point. We're going to go through my favorite passage in here, okay? It's called Tall Man's Headache, Fat Man's Sorrow. There's a little poem to help us get through it. It goes like this, okay? If you duck, tuck, and suck, with any luck you don't get stuck. I'm just kidding, it's not that bad. Now follow me, watch your head.
Do not hit your head. Do not hit your head.
They should hide like candy.
Ooh, I hit my wrist, but it's okay. This is so cool. I'm so glad I decided to do this. You know, I almost stayed home today. Oh no, someone's stuck! See, there's so many little passages and little things. I just don't... You could easily get lost in here for days. Oh, tight squeeze. Very tight squeeze. Ugh. This is the kind of stuff you don't realize until you're trying to film in the dark, but I have some dead pixels on this camera. That's a bit of a bummer.
But another really interesting thing in this room is that our stalactite. Check that thing out. So we were the third cave system in the United States to get electricity. The first was Lurie Caverns in Virginia. The second one was Glenwood Caverns over in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. And then we went live with electricity on the 4th of July in 1907. Now, this up here is a Thomas Edison original design from 1907 right there, light bulb. In 2007, on its 100th anniversary, they took it down, hooked up a battery to copper wire, and the filament still lit up. So they stuck it back up there, and then its 200th anniversary in 2107, they're going to do it again. So you guys come back and see that, all right? So Zephyr's dome, you'll notice goes upward. You'll notice, remember I said where the smooth meets the rough, that's where the original floor was? So up here, there's this pocket, and you'll notice there's no lifeline, right? So there's no crack in the ceiling. So that carbonic acid found a weak spot in limestone, made itself a little tunnel to come through. So it's flowing downhill. You notice that we came downhill, the limestone is tilted. So that carbonic acid is coming down here, and it's picking up velocity, and then it hit a pocket somewhere, and that caused it to spin upward and create like an upside down pothole. So this was eroded from the ground up. That's really cool, if you ask me. All right.
Whoa. That's like 25, 30 feet tall. That's... Wow. That's really impressive.
You could see me. No way.
Okay, so I'm sure I edited all of this stuff together to make it a little bit shorter. I also don't want to defeat the purpose of this entire tour and just show you the whole tour, right? So I did cut a bunch of stuff out. I'm sorry the picture was so noisy, but if you are in Manitou Springs, near Colorado Springs, this is a must do. This is awesome. That was an amazing experience. I'm really, really, really happy I decided to get out of the house today. Come down here and check this place out. So I did buy the hard copy as well as the USB, and I was also given a little bit of extra footage and photos and stuff like that they are going to allow me to drop in this vlog. You've probably already seen that by now. How awesome was that? That was so super cool. Huge thank you to everybody at Cave of the Winds. You guys were so cool about letting me film and vlog inside, and everybody was super nice. Thank you so much. If you guys dug this, make sure if you're in the Colorado Springs, Manitou Springs area, you come down here. It's totally worth the trip. It's completely awesome. I cannot oversell this place enough. So if you like this, make sure you hit that sub button. I've got a lot more stuff like this on the way. I've got a surgery coming up, so I don't know when the next video that I'm gonna post is gonna be, but it's gonna be as soon as possible. And I'm really hyped on this really awesome, fun adventure that we had today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that sub button. Mike the Finder out. See ya!